I began work on Roboltz and first came up with the idea. Um, it was a pretty challenging time because after my main business had failed during COVID, I was I didn't really have much of a plan at that point. But what I did know is that one thing that I was enjoying prior to the prior to shutting down the previous business was that I was pretty interested in marketing, digital marketing, and e-commerce. The original business was an e-commerce business. That was the one that failed about 6 months into lockdown period. So after I shut that business, I dived into some deep study around digital marketing. I began working with another person on their project. That didn't work out. So my next idea was a bit of a I'll say like a snap decision, I guess. It was a snap decision because after the project that I was working on with the previous person fell through, I decided that I still wanted to pursue the digital marketing course, and I had a strange belief at that time, or not really strange. I actually would say it's a very common belief, or my belief at the time at least, was that I could use digital marketing to create a successful business from any idea. So the actual core of the business idea was irrelevant, because I believed at the time that I could make any business profitable and successful purely through digital marketing. That may be true to a certain extent, but let me tell you about my next idea anyway, because at the time I was really enjoying my coffee, so I decided to launch a coffee business. I didn't. I began researching how to start a coffee business, and what I needed was a coffee roaster. So I invested my last chunk of cash into this enormous orange coffee roasting machine, and started roasting coffee. Got myself a market stall, and was down there several times a week on a freezing cold market stall, approaching people walking past and selling them my it was actually the best coffee I've ever had in my life. If you ever get the chance to roast your own coffee, give it a go. It's there's nothing better. So I created a website, multiple websites, in actual fact, trying to nail down the marketing strategy for this my coffee business. I think I pretty much nailed it, to be honest. I won't go into the details, but I had some good ideas, which which I'm still pretty kind of proud of. And at the time, I was into Instagram and social media and putting myself out there, and things were happening, but it was moderate. It was moderate. Then I was at the time reading heavily, I guess, all kinds of different books on marketing and entrepreneurship, etc. I got to was it Alex Hormozi, The Value Equation. I'm sure a lot of you have read that book. But when I read that book, I've made a lot of mistakes on my journey, and whilst reading that book, I got to a particular stage, and I think it was reading The Value Equation, and whilst reading that page, I can remember the exact moment I was actually sitting on the toilet reading, and it was one of those moments when everything just basically clicked, and it was that exact moment that I realised that all the effort and time money I'd put into creating this coffee business was a waste of time, because I hadn't. I knew something was. This was the thing. I knew something was missing, but I didn't know what it was. I just couldn't put my finger on what was missing this whole time. And there was a page, well, I got to a certain stage in this book, The Value Equation, and everything just suddenly clicked into place. But the bad news, I mean, that's good, obviously. It was brilliant. Amazing that I'd had this revelation. I kind of had figured things out, but the flip side of the coin was that I'd also realised that the mistakes that I'd made with this coffee business. So even though I'd only been doing it for 4 months or 3 or 4 months, and had invested all this time and energy and money into buying a coffee roaster, the trials and tribulations surrounding that, and getting this enormous piece of machinery installed and operating. It wasn't brand new, it was second hand, and after it was delivered there were a bunch of engineering problems which had to be resolved, but we finally got up and going, and I didn't master, but I became a competent coffee roaster, and all this stuff. I was heavily invested, but nevertheless, in that instant when I read what I read on the page, and everything clicked into place in my mind. It was at that point that I realised the coffee business was a waste of time. So, me being me, I pulled the plug that very day.